Welcome to Season 2 of Let This Mind podcast. Come along on the journey with us as 3 therapists discuss mental health topics from a biblical perspective. We're talking about themes like boundaries, grief, trauma, and how to let our minds be healed and whole. Because mental health isn't new. It's just finally being heard. Direct hit.
Direct hit. Always hits every time, no matter what. Direct hit.
Directly hitting.
Direct hit. Okay. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 5. Right?
Yeah.
Episode 5. Here we go. We're rolling along. Episode 5, and we're wrapping up the end of this calendar year, and just thought it would be appropriate to just speak about the power of positive mindset, intentions, and thoughts, and things like that. So we'll get into that, and we have a special guest coming on.
Yay.
So we'll talk about that. But we've talked about holiday blues, we've talked about boundaries and all these things, and essentially we're flowing through the whole year, and there's a lot of things in our minds, a lot of things on our spirits. It's just good to talk about how it looks like and what it looks like to be positive, to keep watch on your thoughts, keep every thought under subjection and all that. So that's what we're going to get into. But I am one of your co-hosts, Steph Jones, also known as Lalette Calandra, marriage and family therapist, mindfulness life coach. And I've still signed that vow and contract to let people know healing can happen here. Always. Now, like presently, like whatever time it is that you're seeing this, your healing can happen now. We don't have to wait. So, that's what we're here to say. Passing it over to my other co-hosts, and then we'll jump right in.
Yes. Okay. Well, you guys, Dominique Jones, clinical social worker, about to be licensed. That's why I'm practicing that.
Come on.
But I am the therapist, like I always say, that will meet you where you are at. So if that is on the corner, if that is at the house, if that is at the school, if that is at the jail, wherever it is, I am going to be there because I believe that love will conquer all. So I'm going to meet you there. So yeah, good to see you again.
There's a name for that, Dominique. It's called a community counselor. So I just feel like you don't have to give me that lingo.
I'm gonna just go ahead and just take that.
Community.
Yeah. I mean, look, what you say is great. So you don't want to change it, don't change it.
There's an easier way to say it.
I want them to know wherever they at, that's where it's going to be.
Anywho, my name is Jermaine Harrison, licensed mental health counselor. I am a bridge. I am a compass for the youth and young adults. I love working with them. I'll meet them too. If you're in a residential program, a detention unit, I don't know if I'm gonna come to y'all's house, but I'll come to y'all's church, and y'all can meet me. We'll figure it out. But yeah, how y'all?
Absolutely. So well-rounded. There's a bunch of different skills, and we're all coming together to really let people know that the road to healing really isn't that difficult. We make it harder. We make it a little harder than it really is when we're being honest and just talking about the practical things like, let's do this. So let's jump into this topic for a few moments about the power of the positive mindset with affirmations and speaking positively and intentionally thinking about what we're thinking. Like, we have so many thoughts in our mind, and we just keep going and going and going and ruminating. I'm gonna use that, clinical term. We're ruminating, always constantly thinking about something. But what does it look like for us to intentionally start to filter positive thoughts in our mind? We filter the negative ones. They come in no matter what. There's no spam blocker. There's no block. They just come in. What does it look like for us to intentionally, and how important is it for us to intentionally be doing things, either reading a book, a workbook, a journal, just picking up different materials to make sure that our mindset is on the right track?
Well, to me, visually, it looks like a pause to me, like a pause. Like visually, it just looks like a moment in time where you freeze, because I think it's so it's so impulsive, and it's in our nature to just think. Like, we just always thinking, our mind is always going. It doesn't always look at as the brain as like a computer, and you have a bunch of tabs and it never shuts down. Like, you just have a bunch of tabs open, and until you actually like close it, shut it down, then it's actually, rebooting and all the things that it needs. But for us, we typically don't even shut down. We may put it on sleep and then just close the computer frame. And, so I think of it as like that intentional pause, or like that actual protocol of like, okay, I'm going to take this mouse, I'm going to click shut down, I'm going to make sure it does updates and everything. So I think of that like intentional pause, or that frozen moment where you can actually say, is this proper? Is this healthy? Does this make sense? Like that type of thing. That's what visually comes up for me.
Definitely.
It's that Selah moment. Hello.
Come on.
Yeah.
Bring it in.
Yeah. So there's this quote that I heard in a movie, some Christmas movie one year, and I was like, you know what? I like that. I'm gonna remember it. It says, watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. Watch your actions, they become habits.
Yeah.
Watch your habits, they become character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. And to me, that is really where it's at, right? Like we don't understand how powerful our mind is, and how powerful our thoughts are, right? And our thoughts lead to all of these things that lead us to this destiny and this purpose that we want to live out. And as Dominique was talking, it reminded me of this thing that I did in a training. It was for a mindfulness training. It's like, are you being mindful, or is your mind full? Right. And so honestly, we go around, like Dominique was saying, with all these tabs open, and we never quite close them. If you're like me and you got two screens, them things just keep popping up because something popping up in your brain. That's not good, y'all. It's not good.
Monitors be real.
Right. You gotta find a way to control this and to, reel it in. And sometimes it does take a pause, and sometimes it definitely takes a moment of reflection and saying, like, what is my mind full of? Like, if it's full of purpose and it's full of things that I want to do, great. But sometimes there's some little things in there that shouldn't be in there, what I'm talking about. And if we don't have those Selah moments of just like a pause and reflection, it's like, how do we release this stuff and make room for, first of all, for relaxation and rest, but then also to be able to function the way we need to function.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And I mean, bringing up Selah, it's like a lifestyle that you have to live. In our society, we're not encouraged to slow down. We're actually encouraged to speed up. And depending on where you're from, like especially in the States, if you live up north, you're expected to go at 10,000 miles per hour. No slow down. Don't put your head up. Just keep going. Don't even say hi to anyone. Just keep moving. You have to train. You have a train to get, a bus to get. You're always running everywhere, right? I mean, the Selah really gives us the time to sit in contemplative reflection. And we don't give ourselves that. Like, that's a gift in itself.
Sure.
Where it's like, we even see in the book of Psalms, it's like the Selah was after all this music, all this singing and worship happened. That's a lot to take in. You need a moment to sit and process what's going on. We don't give ourselves that. And there are tools and there are things out there that we can use to make sure that we're giving ourselves the pause, because if we're not pausing, then we're crashing. Dominique, you mentioned the computer. Like, what happens when you never shut your computer off or never shut your phone off? Like, I have 63 tabs on Google Chrome right now, currently. I can't close any of them. I need all of them, right? I need all of them. Of course not. It's foolish. We will crash, and our CPU will burn up, or we'll get some type of virus. Our bodies will get sick. Like, we literally are a computer. That's a great comparison.
Yeah.
And if we're not watching, some malware could get in our brain and ruin everything.
Bring it home, sis. Bring it home.
Look at Jermaine. Jermaine, you look like you was looking for a pen.
Right. I'm always giving out. I'm like, hold on. Because that's wrong.
It's true. But the computer comparison sparked that. Like, oh my gosh, if we don't watch, you don't just allow anything to come on your computer or your phone.
Yeah.
You monitor it. Oh, hold on, what's going on? Like, you have some type of monitoring device. If we don't see our brain like that, this is why so many people are going through, especially at the end of the year. Like, you notice that uptick in mental health issues have just
Yeah.
skyrocketed as we get closer to 2025.
Yeah, I was talking. So my birthday is coming up, and I have so many friends. I didn't know. Thank you. I didn't know how many December babies there really are. There's so many December babies. But I was talking to like some of my friends who are a little bit older than me, because I was always like the baby in the bunch. So a little bit older than me, and a lot of them are like, man, like I'm just not happy where I'm at, or and it, like you said, that end of the year is kind of like every time this time of the year comes around, or let's say a birthday, because you have a whole nother year, and you reflect, it's like, man, you have a choice. And I think that's the thing, like you have a choice. You can look at like, okay, dang, I didn't get the XYZ accomplished, and man, I didn't get that accomplished, I suck. Or it's the other part where you're like, man, I didn't get this accomplished, but this is what I did get accomplished to prepare me for this. And I'm just thinking about like that choice, because I've talked to so many and they're just like, man, I'm just not happy with where I'm at my age, or where I thought I should be. You know, I should be married, I should have kids, and there's so many people that are coming to me, and I'm just like, man, like that's heavy. Like that's a heavy thing. How do you stay optimistic when a lot of the things, there are some things in our control, but a lot of the things are out of our control? So how do we stay optimistic and positive in our mindset when it feels like, man, like I've been waiting a long time and trying to stay positive, and now that positivity is kind of like wearing thin now. Like we getting a little tired and restless. So I was thinking about that, and I was like, man, what do you say to someone that, you know, comes to you like that? You know, like how do you truly handle that? Because that's a hard thing that's a tough pill to swallow right there sometimes. A couple of pills, actually. It's a couple of pills.
And the big pills. You know, like the big
big horse pills. Yeah.
Yeah, like the real big ones.
You know, one thing that I love to do now, I'm not considered a writer, you know, but I love narrative work. I bring in narrative work in every single thing that I can do, because like Dominique was saying, like we have these concepts of like time frames of when things are supposed to happen and how your life is supposed to pan out. But then we realize life be lifing. Yes. And I tell people all the time, my life was planned out at 12. You hear me? Everything that I was going to do, not who I was going to marry, but what kind of person I was going to marry, the color scheme of the wedding and all this stuff. Now ask me, what actually did I accomplish in the time frame that I thought I was supposed to when I was 12? Nothing. And so then changing the narrative helps us to remain flexible and to keep going, even when we think things have failed, right? Because the story continues. You know, the semicolon is something that the mental health world uses all the time, because it's indicative to say, like, it keeps going. Yes, something happened at the beginning, but there's something at the end. And if we don't learn how to be open to change and be open to the fact that things aren't going to happen when we want them, because so much is out of our control, but what we can control is our narrative, and we can control how we perceive things. We can control how we understand things, and we can control how we respond. How are you going to respond to pain? How are you going to respond to loss? How do you respond to disappointments? All of that you can control. And that's the difference between like letting life swallow you up and really take over, or you maintain control and you maintain ownership of who you are and your story. And so sometimes it's really about, what is your narrative and can you change it? Then are you willing to change it? That's the thing. Are you willing to do it? And then finding help with, you know, lovely therapists or life coaches, whatever, that can help you get there.
That's good. That's good. And I think it helps to kind of answer the question that was posed. Like, we try to be in control of so much, and we're really in control of just ourselves. We try to control this, and then we find ourselves neglected. The one thing we can control, we don't control. The one thing that we do have the control over, we try to control our spouses, our children, our bosses, like all this stuff. We wrap all this stuff in there. Yeah. But it is important to do an assessment on what is in my control and what is not. I've seen a bunch of Venn diagrams. Like, this is what's in my control. This is what's out of my control. Like, that is so freeing. It knocks all that weight off your shoulder, because you're like, oh, I can't control that. And it's going to be to my detriment if I try to control this. and then it'll help me control what's in my mind, because I can't, there's no way that I can control this. It's just not going to happen. That's beautiful. And I think that's a good start. That's a good start,
Yeah.
where we're letting people know, hey, you need to assess what's in your control or not. Like, take your Selah. You've been running on 1,000. Take your moment to assess and see what you can and can't control. Like, that helps tremendously. That's a good first step.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the other day about like when we talk about like in control and out of control. I was thinking about like when people go to like NA meetings and they go to NA or AA or whatever type of meeting, and they have that serenity prayer, and it's just, and it speaks on that control. And you know, everybody doesn't have a substance abuse problem or doesn't participate, but sometimes you're allowed to go. Like, there are some people that they've allowed me to hurt, and there, but just the understanding of like, oh man, this really is out of my control, and I'm just going to take it a day at a time, has been something that I feel like I've kept, even though, you know, people kind of put that to just, you know, oh, I don't go if I don't, but you can take from anybody, to be honest. Wisdom is great. And I take that because they take it a day at a time, a moment at a time, just so that, you know, they are controlling what they can control. So that made me think about that. I really, that serenity prayer is everything. I utilize that in my life a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. And it's key. It's key to find those tools. I think it's a good segue. It's key to find the tools, and it's key to find what works best for us. You know, so I mentioned when we first opened up that we do have a guest, and
Yes.
she has created a great resource to kind of help filter those thoughts, where we're talking about meditations and affirmations and how to intentionally keep our thoughts where we need them to be. And not just until the end of the next year, but like, repetition means that you're going to keep doing it over and over again, so that it becomes a habit, and it becomes something that is just our lifestyle. That when I wake up, I say my affirmations, because there's 1,000 negative thoughts in my head. I must combat those thoughts quickly. Like, as soon as my eyes open, you got to stop battling, because we know what happens. We know what we're inundated with. So definitely want to bring her up. I'm going to read her bio, and then we're going to have the conversation. She wrote a great resource. Funny story, backstory. So this guest, she's an author. She wrote 2 books. And the first book, Dominique really wanted to jump into. So we still can, but it was funny because it was touching on a good topic. But, you know, we just have resources. There are things available. And so this is one resource of many that we're going to share, in hopes that we can all begin to get our mind, our thoughts, on the right track. Okay. So our guest is Sametria Beckem. She is a proud mother of 8. Yes, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of 8 children. She's an author, and she's the founder of Purposely Here, which is a brand dedicated to inspiring faith, family, and personal growth. She resides in the Detroit metro area. She empowers women to live holy and purposeful lives, emphasizing modesty, self-respect, and setting positive examples for future generations. Through her books, Daughter, Woman, Mother, and Minute Meditations, her YouTube channel, and her inspiring merchandise, Sametria uplifts others to embrace their true calling with confidence and intention. Come on, that sounds amazing. Sametria, welcome.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was muted. Thank
No,
you.
you're
I'm
fine.
so glad to be with you all. I was in the back just smiling like, oh, wait, that's me. That's me. That's me.
Like, who are they talking
Feel
about?
the
You.
applause.
That's
Feel the
me.
applause.
That's my life.
Right? You're like, oh, who are they talking about? It's you. And that bio sounds so amazing. And I know, like, I've looked at your stuff. I know it to be true, and it's wonderful. So welcome. We're so
Thank you,
glad to have
ladies.
you on the Let
Thank
This
you.
Mind podcast. So please,
Hello.
we read your bio, but if you have anything else you want to share about that, you know, anything else you want to add, please do. And then we're going to jump into the conversation we were already having, right? We want to
Yeah.
hear what had you write the book, and your own
Okay.
personal testimony about mindset and meditations and positive affirmations and things like that.
Yeah. Nothing really more to add to the bio except for, I just, I really have a passion and a heart for the younger generation, the younger girls, just wanting them to reach a level of success in womanhood that is not many out there that's able to, that does show them this. So I wanted to design something, a platform where I can give my life lessons, because there's pretty much not a whole lot that I'm talking about that I haven't experienced or I haven't seen firsthand. So I just want to be that piece that's missing. I know I just can't, as much as I try to and want to, I can't get everybody, but as many hearts and ears that I can reach and connect with, that is my mission and my goal.
Love that. Like, love that. You speaking, you speaking right,
Yes,
right up our alley, right?
Right.
yes, yes. Okay.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us a little bit about Minute Meditations. The description says 90-day devotional of short devotions, prayers, and affirmations. Like, what inspired you to write this?
Mhm. So, as I've said many times before, it seems like the things that's been coming to my doorstep, it has been stuff where somebody has a little birdie then whisper something in my ear, and I'm like, I'm gonna do that. And then that seed is planted, and I'm like, oh my gosh, now it won't leave me alone. Now my ideas just won't stop flowing. I'm like, you know what? The Most High speaks in so many various ways, and I'm like, I am not going to ignore this, and I'm going to give it my everything. So I have a cousin that I would always send like little positive things to in our text
Mhm.
messages, or she might text me like, cuz I need to talk. This happened or that happened, or I'm dealing with this or I'm dealing with that. And I come back and I'm like, well, the word says this, and cuz you got to think like this, you got to do. And she was like, you need to write a book. You need to put all this information in a book. And I'm like, but this wasn't my next project. This was the next thing that I was supposed to be working on. And so then, like in my family group chat, putting those, messages, sending messages to the kids like before they go to school, trying to keep their minds focused on what needs to be and what shouldn't be. And then it was like, you should do a book. And I'm like, y'all too? Not y'all too. So that's kind of how that devotional came about. I'm like, I'm doing all of these things, and why not give it to everybody else too? Why not let everybody have a piece of what I'm blessing my family with as well? So that's kind of how Minute Meditations came about.
I love that because I think what I don't know if it's y'all. I can only talk about Jamae, right? Sometimes I get so ready to dive into something, then all these distractions happen. And what I thought I was going to have 5 minutes for, I really only had like a minute and a half for. So the fact that your minute meditations are like, let's be intentional. Let's do it for this minute and a half or whatever it is. And then, go about your day and do whatever. And those matter because in our field, we
Mhm.
encounter so much.
Right.
And sometimes, like, even in the middle of a session, I put myself on mute, like, Lord, help me.
Woo.
Because I nope.
Yep.
And it's those Selah moments that we talked about where it's like you have to give yourself, even if it's a
Hmm.
minute and a half, time
Hmm.
to reflect, time to pause, time to be like, Lord, help, please. 911
Right.
paid.
Right. Yep.
Hello.
And exactly what you're saying is the exact intentions of not just this book, but my first book as well. But specifically speaking, that was the exact intentions for this book. I wanted it to be something that, it wasn't long and drawn out. You could do it in between appointments, you could do it while waiting on the kids, but it was going to be impactful. It was something that was going to sustain you and stay on your mind and work on your mind, something that you can meditate on and that you can keep and you can actually put into practice. So I guess I did a good job then.
Not guess, not you guess. You did a good
I did a
job.
good job then.
You did a good job, right? Pat yourself on the back. You know what? You mentioned your other book, and as I was saying in the
Mhm.
intro, like that's the one that Dominique wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Because it sounded good. So please feel free to mention that one too. Like you
Oh
can
yeah.
explain what that one's about too, please.
Okay. Yeah, I have time. Look, as long as y'all got time,
Please.
I got time. Y'all got me talking now. But so yeah, both of them were inspired by because like in minute meditations, there's a lot of me in that too. A lot of things that I've learned how to overcome, things that I began to put into practice to improve me. I was listening to you all talk about the only thing that you can control and the Venn diagram. And so here I am, imagine the Venn diagram. And I'm like, what I can control, that part will be practically empty. And it's just going to say me. Whereas the other pieces is going to be flooded with so much stuff. And I'm thinking, like, why am I trying to take hold of all of these things and I cannot control it? I am literally driving myself. I'm talking now. This is me. I'm literally driving myself crazy, calling on people like you all. Like I'm losing it. And I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? Why? And I found so much peace in beginning to say, you know what? It's very simply, what can I do about that?
Mm.
How how can I stop so and so from doing that? What really is what me doing this or that? What am I going to accomplish? What can I do by getting my hands in stuff besides making it worse? But what I can control is what goes on up here and what's in here. The words that come from here go into here and it just flows throughout my whole entire body. I can control my energy. When and I know us women, we all do it. We find ourselves in a battle with that conversation by ourselves. And you talking, and then you playing the other person, and then you talking, and then you playing the other person. And if they said this, and then you stop, you're like, why am I engaging in this negativity? I cannot control all of that. But what I can control is these thoughts that's thrown through my mind. So now I'm praying. So that Venn diagram, it literally lit up. And I'm like, wow, I just seen all of my mess. And what I could actually control, I wasn't even I wasn't even trying to control it. It's because I wanted to fix everything around me. So I was sitting in the background. I thank you all for even bringing that because that just brought a whole new understanding to everything that I was trying to do. And I couldn't do it. I was wearing myself thin, trying to control it.
Yeah. I want to pose a question to everyone because I think it's just something that we should probably talk about. Why do you think it is so important for us to have so much control? Like, why is that even a thing? Like, why do we feel like we have to have so much control? Just a question posing.
One of the things, the way that we want them done when we want it, how we want it done, having the say so, being the puppeteer,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
wanting
Yeah.
to wanting that, just that is just I don't that's just what I think. I'm not happy about something, so here, let me try to control it and fix it rather than finding out why me, I'm not, and fixing me and not worrying about. But we want to make everything suit and fit us, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a very good question because I never stopped to think that.
Yeah. I mean, in mental health world, right? Some people think having the control can alleviate stress and alleviate anxiety, when in reality it creates it, right?
It
So
does. It
most
does.
people who have this need of control, it's coming from an anxious place, right?
Yes.
It's a I don't know, and I can't control the inevitable, but I can try to control something. And anxious brains say, if we
Mm.
don't know it, we avoid it. And so
Mm-hmm.
we try to know it all because so then we can control it all. And then we don't have to worry about these inevitable things that could pop up out of the blue. And so, I talk to clients about that all the time, is like, are you trying to control things to alleviate it? And then they're like, oh, Yeah, I guess so. But it's also a trauma response. It's something happened to me that I didn't account for and I wasn't ready for, and I can't let that happen again. And
Right.
so let me where I go, who I talk to, who I surround myself with, the conversations that I'm having,
Yeah.
I need to be in control because that way things can't, surprise me. So
Yeah.
I think.
Very, very true. And I mean, just to that point, I was just thinking like controlled people were controlled people, that maybe when you were younger, maybe a very like overbearing mom or dad
Hmm.
or, sibling like controlled you, and then you become controlling. Like it's like the abused becomes the abuser,
Right.
and it's pretty sad because the more we try to control, and I'm just jumping on and piggybacking on what's already been said, the more we try to control, the more out of control it
It
becomes, and the
does.
more we get to choke out things. And
Hmm.
and in reality, we need short meditations. We need short things. I'm just thinking of our attention span.
Right.
People want to jump. People want to jump right into an
Right.
hour of meditation and 30 minutes or 45 minutes. That's you have to work up to that. So if we're talking about control and someone wanting to release that, you have to start small with small increments, small
Hmm.
reading, small this, so they can start getting their mind prepared to like
Right.
release and let go. That's the hardest part with that control. You see your hands around it. You're like, okay, this thing is dying, but I cannot let this go because, as Jermaine said, I was caught off guard. This one time, but it was so
Hmm.
big and it impacted me so much that I will never. We make these inner vows. I will never let this happen ever again.
Yep.
And we all know we can't control that. We can't control that. It's not a reality, you
Nope.
know.
We just control the responses that we give when it happens. That's it.
That
Mhm.
that's it. That's it.
And
So,
like, so
please,
sorry.
please.
I was just thinking, like, because you're a mother of 8, right? And I
What?
can only imagine, because like what I was saying
Yeah.
before we went live, I was like, managing Jermaine's life takes strength and energy, and I'm like, I don't know where that's coming from, but to be able to write the books and be able to set intention on what you're writing and then take care of a whole household, like that sounds amazing. Like I personally would like to know how you did it, because again, it's just me. And when I
Yeah.
say that seed was planted about writing a book, and I just be standing at the computer like, and I draw blanks. Like, how'd you do it? How did you finally get yourself in front of the computer and was like,
Yeah.
bang this out?
So I have become a person of very, very little sleep.
Mm.
And so a lot of the time that I took to write would be once everybody is squared away and they're off to bed or they're off, doing their own thing. But a lot of my writing, unfortunately, it would come to me either late at night or early in the mornings. So I'm on my phone, I'm noting, I'm talking about the most recent book. I'm on my phone, I'm noting, trying to doze back off, feel like I'm gonna go to sleep, and then tap on the shoulder, nope, wake up, I got more for you. And so, I'm noting more in my phone. So that book, a lot of it happens either late at night or early mornings. Um, the other book, well, you know what? The other book was the same way, but I was on my computer a lot late at night because at that time I didn't have the obligation of work. I was exclusively stay at home with the kids. So it gave me more opportunity to write it and get it done. But it still again was a lot of midnight oil burning, getting it written or typed out on the computer, and the finished product wasn't easy, but I figured it out. I always figure it out, but I got it done. Yep.
Wow. Good for you. Because listen, I don't sleep either. But like writing the thing, maybe it was just like, imposter syndrome on my end. Because like, don't nobody want to listen to me. I ain't got nothing to say. And anything that I have to say, it probably was already said out there. But
Oh, you'd be
the
surprised.
I know. I know. And it keeps coming. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I hear you. I know it's coming. I don't know when, don't know how, don't know where the
Yeah.
funds are gonna come from. But we're gonna have to write, because something
Yeah.
that you said is the seed was planted.
Right.
right? And the Bible talks about he gives seed to the sower, which means if he trusted you with the seed, he's going to trust you to sow it.
Oh,
And so it's
absolutely.
beautiful that you were able to be, first of all, be obedient to the call, and then
Yeah.
have something that you've learned. You can take it, put it in a book so that other people can learn the same, and maybe
Right.
they can wake up something, the fire, the spark, or whatever in them to continue.
Say for you with your writing, even if it's just a little bit, put it there. Put it, show your faithfulness that I'm willing to show up, even if I'm not able to produce anything. It's not about, what you're able to type out, what is your obedience to it and saying, I'm showing up. I'm showing up when the thoughts won't even show up, but I'm here to show that I'm ready and I'm willing. So even if it's a sentence or two, put it down. Even if it's just the title, put it down. It'll happen. And when it happens, it's just gonna take off like wildfire. But you have to be in a willing position and a willing place for it to be what it's gonna be. We keep talking about the seed planting, but we don't want to bury that because we know what happens when it got buried. So don't be accountable, have to be held accountable for saying, well, the thoughts didn't come. So, but obviously I wanted you to do something is because that seed was planted there. So I just say, just show up. Just
Yeah.
show up. Prove that you're willing to do it. Show up. It'll
Yeah.
come.
That
I'm feeling quite convicted. I don't know about anyone else. And that's okay. No, not condemned, but I'm feeling convicted, and I
Okay.
know that it's real, and
Okay.
it's time, and this is beautiful, and it is seeds being planted. It's great, and I want to say that. So yeah.
Yep.
I wanted to. Oh, go ahead. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, number one, women are amazing. Men are great. Women are so amazing because this is what I'm picturing, right? You push out humans.
Oh Lord.
And
8 of them.
you
Eight.
Look, 8
eight of them.
No
You
meds.
manage them.
No
They
meds.
are
No
alive.
meds.
Woo!
Lord.
You said no meds.
No meds.
Praise God. So you did that.
My
You
Lord.
No
did that,
meds,
and
no
then you
stitches.
manage, right? Woo! You manage them, right? But what I'm thinking is just about kingdom, right? So outside of this, I'm thinking about kingdom because I believe that people in the kingdom, women, men, kids, whoever in the kingdom are given seed to do so much, right? It's never just for us, it's always for others. So we're given so much to do, and sometimes I can see how this meditation and intentional thinking is so important, especially to the kingdom, as much as we don't really like to utilize this, because if our minds are so drawn out on the day-to-day task and we don't take those moments to kind of take back our time just a little bit, to take back some of the power and control that we do have, I can see how it will be buried seed. I can see how that seed will come to us and it'll just be like, okay, well, it's here, God, thank you. And that's where it stays, and it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, which is go forth and spread. I mean, a bee's supposed to pick up the pollen and take it somewhere and drop it somewhere else. Like, that's what it's supposed to do. But we don't get to do that because we are so, I think people, especially the kingdom, but people, we're tired. We're tired in our minds. We're tired in our bodies. Like, we are tired. And that is a true hindrance. Like, it's truly hindering us. It feels like chains on us because we're working 2 and 3 and 4 jobs. We are managing 8 children or 10 children or whatever it is. Some of us doing it by ourselves. And it's just so much. So I can see why, and I would love for you to maybe speak on it too, but just why that meditation and that intentional thinking is so important in an economy that's set up for us not to have a moment of peace. Like, it's not set up for us to have a moment of peace. So I really can appreciate this because I can see how this is something that the kingdom really needs to take it. Like, we need to take this and let it take root in our hearts, because we waste time. We waste so much time and we don't get that back. Like, you can get money back. You can maybe even get your hair back. You might get your edges back. Like, it's so many things. that you can get back. But my time, you can't give me that
Ever.
back. Like you
Nope.
cannot give me my time back. So I would love for us to talk on that and just however you did it, because my God, 8 children is my God.
And,
Mhm.
and
That
you
is a
know,
lot.
speaking of, not being, excuse me, not being able to get your time back, that's why it's important that we're careful what we entertain and what we do.
Good.
Mm.
Everything, like we've been saying, everything has to be intentional. What will this benefit my day? Will this benefit my bank account? Will this benefit
My God.
knowledge that I need to give to my kids? Will this uplift another individual? Will this allow me to get sleep? We need to stop and ask ourselves these
My God.
questions. What I'm doing, what I'm about to do, what I'm thinking about, how does that help me? How does that benefit me? How does
Yeah.
that get me to my completed assignment? And if it doesn't, that's one of the things we need to carve out, because then we now have more time to manage to get
Yes.
these needed things done.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm still working on. Something I'm still working on too. But I have gotten a lot better with understanding I don't need to
Yeah.
think, do, or have these things is because it's not benefiting me.
Yeah.
And that's where we lose a lot. I think more of our time is consumed with unnecessary things than it is necessary. And we begin to recognize those things and carve them out. It will give us the time that we need, although we have the 8 kids, although we're working, although we're doing this and that, but it'll give us more time to do what we need to do if we seek time to cut it out. But then implementing the word into our lives, that's bringing the light, pushing out the dark. It is just opening our mind and freeing our mind of junk and being able to receive and hear clearly so that we know what we need to do.
Yes.
Man, that's good. And it's practical. Sometimes we're hearing things that are just not so much above us, but just like impractical. We can't necessarily apply this. These are practical things that we can implement now, like
Mhm.
today, like
Yeah.
presently, where you
You
can
can.
implement and really incorporate them into our lifestyle and
Mhm.
and how we navigate our day, how we set the itinerary of our day. I mean, there's so many frivolous things. I know for me, like, man, social media, I've had to cut back, like all this stuff. So it's not that we
Yeah.
don't have the time to do it. We
Yeah.
do have the time. It's how do we shift and how do we focus our time on things that are going, just like you listed out.
Yeah.
Is this going to help my bank account? Is this going to help me, my
Oh Lord, when
mindset?
you said that, my God.
My future. It's gonna help my future. It's
Yep.
it's the assessment. It's taking the moment to do the assessment. That's spot
Mhm.
on. That's
Mm.
and,
gold.
and, and it
I
starts with our words. It starts with our words. We
Yeah.
have to speak it in. And the reason why I'm saying it like this is because I want to then navigate what into something. While you all had me in the back, I was going through the book, because when I start hearing, the things that we take in, the things that we speak, I was looking for a chapter and I found one. And so it's about speaking the right things to ourselves. It's just we're just so full of negativity. We
Mhm.
that's a big hindrance. Like I said, those things that come to you, when the minute you hear it and you begin to check it and replace it with the better thoughts, it helps so much more. And I know people that's listening, they might feel like, oh man, that's just so corny. That's so, but I'm telling you, this is things that I've actively been practicing. It's something else I've been telling myself too, but I'm not gonna say it out loud to everybody else. But it's been working. It's
Oh,
been
okay.
working.
What is it? What is it?
Hold on now. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
If you
Wait a
didn't want to speak
minute.
about it, if you didn't want to speak about it, you wouldn't have mentioned it.
Right,
Not to
right,
three,
right.
not to
Hold on.
three therapists, not to
Since y'all didn't
us.
put the
You wouldn't
gun
have.
to my head, since y'all didn't put the gun to my head, so it's something I've even told my kids. I said, and I'm gonna censor it so it can be, for everybody here. But I said to them, I said, you know what? I've become such, I'm becoming such a nonchalant person about so much stuff now. When things come to me, and I know it's coming to tear my mind down or tear whatever down is, my response is, I don't give a.
Uh-huh.
That's what I tell myself. If something come, I'll be like, you know what? I don't give a.
Listen, insert
And
whatever
My
word.
God.
Insert.
My God.
sometimes you gotta kind of boss up on them problems.
Hey,
You
you
gotta step
do.
face to face. Like, I'm not backing down. You want the
Yeah.
hood streak? That's what you get. I don't give a.
Yeah.
You can this thing sometimes. The devil, he's so subtle and will kind of, he was sneaking, but you got to let him know, oh, I recognize you and I don't give a
Oh,
Mhm,
baby.
now what?
mhm,
Baby.
That's
mhm.
just how,
And,
and I laugh at myself sometimes, but it really does work. And something
mhm.
my mom used to say when I was growing up, and I was like, man, if this ain't the craziest stuff, you keep saying something to yourself long enough, truth or not, you're gonna believe it.
Mhm.
Even if
It's
I
true.
don't care, if I continue to tell myself I don't care about a particular thing, it's gonna become a part of me, and I'm not
Yeah.
going to care.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Absolutely.
And the same
Absolutely.
thing happens when we say, oh, I'm sick and tired,
Yeah,
or like my nerves, you getting on my nerve. Like all
yeah,
that stuff begins to manifest in our bodies, in our
yeah.
lives. And
Can I?
that's, mm,
Can I?
it's true.
Of course.
Can I give it to
Excerpt,
you?
please.
Can I?
Yeah.
Please.
Okay. So I'm gonna show you how it ain't gonna be quite a minute, but I'm gonna show you how much minute meditations is a minute. This
Okay.
chapter is day 13, speaking life. Harnessing the power of the words for transformation. The power of our words to shape our reality is profound and often underestimated in our daily lives. Every word we utter has the potential to influence the outcomes we experience. In today's world, negativity has subtly woven itself into our everyday conversations. Phrases like, I have a headache, I'm broke, or if it ain't one thing, it's another. Have become commonplace, inadvertently reinforcing a narrative of struggle and limitation. Yet, amidst this pervasive negativity, this exists a transformative opportunity, a chance to break free from the mindset that perpetuates challenges. When we delve into the teachings of the Most High Yah, we embark on a journey of self discovery and growth. His word is not static, it's a living truth, akin to the daily sustenance of bread or the refreshing properties of living water. Speaking life into our circumstances means aligning our words with the divine truth, recognizing that our expressions can become vessels of positive change. Facing less than ideal situations isn't just about acknowledging the difficulty, it's about responding with a narrative that carries transformative power. For instance, acknowledging financial challenges while expressing faith in the solutions provided, anticipating a positive turnaround. Faith serves as the catalyst for change, highlighting the transformative potential inherent in our words. Proverbs 18:21 captures this wisdom succinctly. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. This proverb emphasizes the dual nature of words. They can bring either life or death. Choosing words rooted in righteousness aligns with the Most High Yah's teaching, and we make the intentional choice. We witness the fulfillment of his promises. In essence, our words are like seeds planted in the soil of existence, and the Most High Yah determines their growth or decline based on what we sow. This dynamic can either build up or tear down, depending on the nature of our speech. Speaking life into existence becomes a deliberate practice and commitment to aligning our expressions with the divine truth.
Mhm.
Well, just read the thing.
Sametria, right. Just read all of it. Just read,
Right.
And
read the whole
then day
book.
14, no, I'm just playing.
Wow. That was major.
Mhm.
That was really
So
profound.
when I heard you all speaking, I was like, oh, dead on. That chapter is going to be it.
Mhm. Because we need those reminders, right? I think something that I'm always trying to remind myself of, because you got to talk to yourself correctly, right? And sometimes I get
Yeah,
hood
yeah.
too. I get real hood with myself. Like, Jermaine, now daggone well. It gets hood over here. But anyway, it just reminds me of something I had to say to myself. Like, although we are not God, we are given God's spirit, and through God we are
Hmm.
given the authority, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
God can create everything by word, the only thing he didn't create by word was man, right? If he has that authority and he has given us a piece of that authority, I have to remember, like, Jermaine, if you don't like what you're living, did you say something that created this? Like, my words could
Right.
create my
Ooh.
reality. Yeah. And so
Oh.
I had to keep asking myself, like, I was I'm a recovering complainer. I have relapses from time to time, but I had to remember, like, I could create my reality. And if I keep talking certain ways, I can't get mad when things happen. And I can't look to God like, God, what you doing? He's like, you the one who spoke it. Wasn't it
Uh-uh.
me? And so when I
Right.
started to remind myself of that, I was like, girl, I don't care if you don't like what's happening, you better watch your mouth. Like your mama would say, watch your
Yeah.
mouth. Watch your mouth. And it's like, okay. So now reminding yourself of that. Don't create your reality. If you don't like what you said, if you don't like what you're living, did you speak it into existence?
That's true because you know what? As soon as you said that particular part, the whole thought just went out the window when we say um why me? Why am I in this situation? Why well, I don't know why. You tell me why. Because like you just said, maybe I talked myself into this situation. I'm the one through my actions and words put myself here. Now I don't want to hold the accountability as to
Yeah.
what I've done to get
Right.
me here. I want to shift the blame. And why? Why me? Well, like you just said, sweetheart, it's probably something that I said or did.
Mhm.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the Bible talks about turning people over to reprobate minds, and I think about these things because we really don't understand when we talk about speaking and the thoughts that we have. Again, whatever you really are thinking, a lot of the time, it's usually buzzled in there, nestled deep in that heart. And that's really how you're going to live life. That is going to be your perspective on life and people and relationships or whatever. So like, love him, but my husband, he says something and I always challenge him to try something different, because he says, he'll be like, oh, this is just my lot. Like if something falls through or something doesn't work out, he'll say, oh, this is my lot in life. And I'm just like, no, like, no, this is not your lot. This didn't go the way you planned it, but that's okay. There's other ways that we can try to go about
Hmm.
this. And really
Absolutely.
trying to get that, because I can see how people can sometimes use it as a way to protect themselves for the failure.
Yes.
I can
Hmm.
see how they use some of these thoughts and things to kind of keep themselves just the wall up so that they don't let anything in that might hurt them, and not realizing that, and that we talked about this with boundaries too before. It's having that door that you can kind of open and close, and not just a concrete wall that doesn't ever come down. You have to have a certain way that's kind of checks and balances. So those thoughts and how you're moving in them and the words that you're saying are so important, but I can see how people are using that to really guard themselves for the hurt and embrace themselves for the failure, embrace themselves for rejection. And those are the things that are out of our control. Everybody may not agree with the vision. Everybody may not understand why are you writing that book, girl. Everybody writing a book about affirmations. Everybody, people may feel that way, but so what?
Right.
Because somebody is going to need it the way
Yeah.
you said it for whatever
Right.
reason, right? So don't stop. Like take that seat and do what you need to do with it. So I just think about that. I can see how it can cause people to be like, oh no, oh, pain, failure, rejection. This is my lot, or this is life. Nothing positive is going to happen for me. Nothing good ever happens for me. I can see that as how they use that as the armor that's not really armor. It's really, I'll say it's armor that's the wrong size, because you know how like you can have the armor and it's supposed to fit the person, and I feel like it's
Hmm.
armor that's the wrong size and it's too small and it's choking us and it's cutting us and it's hurting us and it's doing more damage than good.
Yeah. And it's really the armor that becomes the prison. We're in armor and we're supposed to be protecting ourselves, but that armor becomes prison, and
Yes,
we don't even recognize what
it
we're
does.
saying. Like we don't, and especially if you come from a family that just speaks reckless, and I think saying like, oh, this is my, and then insert whatever ailment, you know what I mean? Like families who
Oh,
say that, and people who say that, and friend circles and sister circles who say that, you could get caught in that vicious cycle, and you really do begin to have your world shaped by it. I had an old pastor, she said your words shape your world, and they
yeah.
do. When you look around at your world, we should see all of our words just circling around and around, and it's like, oh shoot, like we're really there. So I'm looking at the time. I'm gonna read a scripture that I just thought about, while we're talking. But then, Sametria, please let our listeners know where they can find you, and we want to hear about your T-shirt. I wanted to bring that up, right? We see you rocking the gear. We want to let people know what that is too. Let me just read this quick scripture, and then please let people know where they can purchase the book, where they can find you, and all that. Okay. So this is Philippians 4:8-9. It says, "Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things." If that doesn't sound like meditation
Yes.
on whatever is above, it's not saying that there won't be things that are negative. There will be, but whatever, like, it's intentional. And I think it just points to the reason that you even had to pen and write and note and stay up and lose sleep and do all that. It really points to all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to be conscious of the time, but we can't leave Miss Dominique without me dipping a little bit and telling her about the first book real quick. We forgot to talk to her.
We just move right on. This is true.
We did. So I promise I won't take too much time telling about it. But first book, that was my baby of babies, is because it was literally me. And everything, well, not everything, but a lot of what I had dealt with from preteen up through adulthood, womanhood, just understanding my value, my worth, my beauty, because my kids look at me in awe often because I tell them a lot, very transparent. When I was younger, when I was a teenager, I didn't think that I was pretty. And they look at me like, what is wrong with you? But that's through your lens. My insecurity said differently. So because of that, I did things for the attention. I just in relationships that I knew I shouldn't have been in, thinking that, oh, because he said he loves me, oh, now we can have sex and we'll be together forever. It didn't quite work out that way because my intentions and his intentions were different. By the time I was 18, I had a baby, my first son. I took advantage of the fact I'm an adult. I can admit it now. Took advantage of the fact my mom worked a lot. Therefore, I did what I wanted to do. And what I wanted to do wasn't what I should have been doing. I wasn't going to school like I should have been, entertaining relationships that I shouldn't have been, and it was a lot of hard lessons to learn. So I wanted to be able to tell that girl, that little girl, that young teenager, that adult woman, your body is not the tool to keep a man. Your body is not the tool to get a man. Your temple is for the worship of the Most High. Your temple is for your husband. Keep it pure. Keep it clean. We're not meant to lay with everybody that comes on and tells us we're beautiful and you're cute or I love you. They're going to say what they want to say, but you have to know your self-worth. You have to know who you are and whose you are. You have to know that you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and that can anybody just come up to you and just say this or that and expect you to fall for it. That's why we as mothers and as fathers, we need to tell our daughters, you are beautiful, you are loved, you are this, you are that. So when somebody steps to them, they have to come correct, because everything that they're saying, they have heard it already. They're secure in themselves. They know it. I have to be the example for my daughters. I can't say a thing and then do something different because they're going to emulate what I do. My son is going to find a woman that's like me. Do I want him to bring a woman like me home? So I have to watch who I am and how I move, So it's for the mothers, what we need to do for our daughters, what we need to do for ourselves. We need to clean our acts up. We need to give these girls something to look at and not sexy red. So that's pretty much what that book is about. It's helping to build.
Dominique's having a whole moment over there.
What's going on?
To build. It's helping to build these girls up to know. You don't have to do that. Love, you're beautiful. If you walk out the house barefaced, no, that is confident. To be able to say, I'm beautiful the way that I wake up. I'm beautiful is because I know it's in my heart. I'm beautiful is because I stand on the principles, values, and morals of the word, of the scripture, So it's just about reconditioning that mind. however you are, you're beautiful that way. You don't need the boobs. You don't need the butt injections. You don't need that. It's because it's a false sense of confidence. Because what about when it's gone? What about if you can't get it? What about if your eyelash girl is not on call? What you gonna do then? Where's your confidence then? It has to be something that's built within. And I am just coming to a place, and I'm 40 now, but in my 30s, where I've looked in the mirror and said, my nose is big. Okay. My eyes are slanted. Okay. It's how I look. I can't say that I am not pretty, but then tell my daughter who looks just like me, oh, you're beautiful. That don't quite add up. Doesn't add up. So yeah. Okay, Dominique, did I do good? Did I give it to you, girl?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
So there it is.
But I'm glad you did, because it goes right back into what you were talking about when it comes to that mind. Because to know all of that, you have to know in your mind, you got to believe that you are so much more than what the world is trying to present. So when you know that, no, I'm not going to lay with anybody, because hello, why am I doing that? Like, you're not.
Why am I going to devalue myself?
Right. You're not going to, because you know. But that goes back to that coming to terms with that positivity. And I love that you mentioned moms dads, we have to speak life into the environment, not just our kids, but the environment of our kids, because they have a whole culture that they are faced against, a whole entire culture that's telling them that they don't look like this, act like this, move like this. They are not it. What? Absolutely not. You have to. It is our job. We can no longer be mad. I'm sorry, I'm about to go off. We cannot be mad at the world systems for doing what it's supposed to do. It's our job, kingdom of God, to teach the children and the people what God wanted for them, what the value was internally. That's our job. That's not their job. So I can't be mad if they're going to say, oh, they can't have Jesus in the schools. Duh, like, it's our job. We're supposed to pass that down from generation to generation. Yeah, I'm gonna be mad about it because they need Jesus in the schools. However, this is what I expect this from a worldly system that does not have Jesus.
That's right.
That's our job. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah. And we've been sitting on the sidelines, and we've been saying, we'll let the teachers, the schools, the education system, we'll let
them take care of it.
Yeah. And then what Dominique is saying, then we're mad, like society is doing its job. How can we be mad at society? Society is actually doing what it's supposed to be doing. It was not set up with the principles, from anything. It's set up to take our youth. It's set up to warp their minds, to create that false sense of identity, all that, the lashes, the BBL, all that. But we're the ones sitting like, oh, I can't say anything, or we can't. So it's real, and it's really needed. So let people know how to purchase your books, please, and what else you offer on your website, please.
So both books you can find on my website, which is purposelyhere.com. No fancy way of spelling it, just how it is, purposelyhere.com, because we are all here by design for a reason. We are not here purposeless, but we are here to fulfill and carry out a mission. Purposelyhere.com. Okay, you didn't ask for all that, but I gave it to you. And you can also find my my merchandise. This shirt that I have on today is Put Some Respect on My Writing, signed by an author. And then I have one for both men and women, specifically. What is it? Dope Black female author, dope Black male author. Then I just have like tons of other inspirational shirts. Faith over fear. Wait, is that one of them? I might be making one up. I might need to put that one on there.
Come on, put it on the inventory.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of faith-based shirts that I have on there. Graphic hoodies and tees. There's stuff for the kids, stuff unisex, just for women, just for men. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff, and everything that you see on there, everybody, my kids, they help me with so much. I have artists, I have editors, hey, I got cheap labor here. You know what I'm saying? So
you do untapped resource.
No, you don't. You ain't got no cheap label, girl. You push them out with no meds. That
Hey,
ain't cheap
that
label.
is true. That is
Uh-uh.
very true. I
That
paid the
costs a
cost way
whole
long
lot.
You paid
ago.
the price.
Yeah, paid the price a long time ago. So yep. So you can find purposelyhere.com. I'm on Facebook. Sametria Beckem. My business is on there, Purposely Here. Instagram, all daughters with an S of Zion. And TikTok, the real Mrs. Beckham. So I'm trying to, interact more on these different platforms and trying to make it work for me. But yeah, that's where I am now. If you check out my Facebook page, now there's actually something that I'm doing with almost like a mother like lady my best friend, my a good childhood friend, her mother and I, we're doing this little, online virtual conference thing the 14th. So, you can check that out. You can find it and just, wait to see what's next.
That sounds amazing. And we'll make sure for our listeners, we'll make sure that all the links that were just mentioned are going to be put in the description so you can have
Okay.
access to it. Sametria, thank you so much. You
Thank
were
you
such
all.
a
I had
blessing.
fun. I had a
Yeah.
lot of fun. I came in, I was so tired. I'm only working on a few hours of sleep. My head was rocking. Y'all, we got to talking. It was like, yes.
Come on. Especially when you connect with people's spirits and you're talking about the same thing. I
Oh,
think we're
yeah.
in the space now where, the Most High really is gathering all his
Oh,
people together.
absolutely. Oh,
He's gathering
absolutely.
everybody.
It's
And you don't-
time.
it's time. And you don't need to know someone for
Yes.
very long to know,
Mm.
who's their shepherd.
Yeah.
Oh,
Who's,
yeah.
like, you don't need
Yeah.
to. So this is awesome. This has been amazing. Wonderful wrap up. Again, we'll put the links in the description.
All right.
And thank you all for watching. We're just moving on and we're just pushing forward. We're being intentional. We're watching our thoughts and
Right.
we're incorporating it into our everyday life. So,
That's right.
Sametria, thank you so much. This was so
Thank you
amazing.
all. Thank you
Yeah.
all.
This was awesome. So we'll see you next time. Again, purchase the book, purchase the merch made by the laborious kids, okay, who helped out. support, not just for the sake of supporting, but because this will bless your life. Like
Absolutely.
this is something that will bless our lives, and we want to support kingdom businesses. So bang.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you again. So awesome.
Thank